This story is a summary of the keynote talk from the Texas Linux Fest, titled "Identity Crisis: Are We Who We Say We Are?" So this is very much about when as an open source developer you say "we," who do you mean? There's a lot of places you could draw that line. You can say, oh, am I talking about we, me and my friends, or me and the people on this same mailing lists as I am, or contributors to this project, or to all projects,
or a commercial employee of the company.
Yep, that's right.
That seems to be the particular case. That
in particular, this was worried if you, as some developers do, you are professionally employed to work on an open source project. You also work on that project on your own time. When you make statements about that project, who are you talking on behalf of? Are you talking on behalf of yourself, that project's developers, your employer who employs you to work on that project? It gets tricky. And there was a couple of parts to this talk. One of the main parts was, why is this stuff important? And according to this talk, it's important because under US law, if your corporation or organization was set up under some law, then the IRS cares because of some reason, and I don't actually care about any of that. To me, that wasn't the interesting part of this talk.
I'm glad you found an interesting part in the talk. In some respect, a lot of this seemed fairly simple, where if you have to wear multiple hats, you make damn sure that you know which one you're wearing at all times.
It seems simple, but a lot of people fail at it. It's useful to repeat, and repeating it in keynote talks at big Linux events will help to hammer it home so that people start thinking about this, because sometimes it matters. And when it matters quite a lot.
And it's certainly a good thing for us to be getting legal advice from a legal person, as opposed to made-up shit.
That's true. Unlike most people who talk about legal things at Linux conferences, this person does actually have relevant qualifications and presumably can be trusted far more than the average programmer who's pretending to know that they know what they're talking about with regards to the law.
She certainly can. She
absolutely.
Has quite extensive...
in particular, has quite extensive experience working with the Software Freedom Law Center.
Yeah. You might not remember this, but she was keynoting at LCA a couple of years back. She is the one that has the heart implant.
I missed that story.
Pacemaker. Defibrillator, like an emergency defibrillator. If a heart stops,
medical device,
it'll kick off. And she started the very long process of trying to get the source for this.
Okay.
Pacemaker.
Is it a pacemaker?
It's a pacemaker.
Okay. So, she very much has a philosophical basis for a lot of open source stuff. So when you've got a story like that where it's literally down to your health and you're literally putting off getting a medical device installed because you haven't got the source for it, your heart is very much in the right place. That's a terrible pun. That's my terrible pun for the night.
You only do one?
I only do one. You got the Donkey Kong one. I got the heart one. And yeah, a lot of this stuff seems pretty simple and pretty basic. But yeah, good legal advice is on the cheap is hard to get. So I guess we should be taking more interest in it, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that was the second part of this talk that I thought was interesting, was where it got to here's some general advice. So the first part about why is this important, I felt only really applies if you're in the US, but the general advice I feel is a bit more general, applies everywhere, and that was when you're first starting out an open source project and it's you and maybe a few friends all contributing to the same source tree, it's okay. You can play fast and loose with the rules. Everything starts that way. It's not a huge problem. But if your project starts to get bigger and eventually you've got people contributing that you've never met in person. You don't actually know them other than the patch they've sent you. And you start to worry. You start thinking, oh, we need to worry about trademarks. We need to worry about, who controls the money that pays for the web servers. And
but it's not just remote people, right? Like
when it's just you and your friends, and one of you goes, oh, that's okay, I'll sort it out. I'll go down and register the trademark and set up a bank account for this. It's okay when your project's small. When your project starts to grow, it matters, because you don't want to be in a situation where somebody owns the trademark, but they've then set up a consulting company to do work, and it muddies the waters quickly when you both contribute to the project, run a separate company that provides consulting services related to the project. You own the trademark, and it's not clear whether that belongs to you personally, the project in general, or the company you run. You need to think about this stuff as soon as you start to get beyond it's just a few friends sharing a source code repository.
I think by the time you're getting a trademark, like you're seeking a legal service, surely at that point in time you go, we're seeking one legal service, maybe we should seek one or two more.
As I said before, it seems simple, but a lot of people get it wrong, and you do need to think about this stuff, and that is the take-home message here.
Has anyone here had to do any legal stuff with any open source projects that have been on? No?
Doesn't look like it.
You hear about it a lot, not directly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it wasn't really a wake-up call. She wasn't trying to scare anyone. It was really just a tap on the shoulder and a reminder, I think.
For you and for me, maybe we've been at this for a while. Yeah. We've seen what's happened before when places have got this wrong. Yep. There's been major projects that have been forked because of arguments about who owns the name of that project. Mm-hmm. Hudson and Jenkins, for example. There's been plenty of others, but for people who are just starting out, who haven't had that experience and seen it all happen before, this is definitely a gentle reminder that these things matter and you should think about them.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.